afternoon, everybody. Welcome into Big Man's Bracket Busters. I'm your host, the Big Man on Campus, getting you ready here for today. Sweet 16 coming up here on Thursday and Friday, boys. It's upon us. Sweet 16. Let me welcome in all my colleagues here who are joining me here today. We're sponsored by the great people at Intertops. If you need in need of a book, head on over to Intertops, one of the best in the business. Quick lines, quick payouts, all sorts of great stuff over at Intertops. Check them out today. We'll start off Teddy Covers. Teddy Covers, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Are you kidding, man? We're in the middle of March Madness. I'm running pretty good. I got no complaints, BMOC. How about yourself?
Oh, doing great. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's an exciting time. I know, on this side of the United States, very snowy. We're getting a ton of snow right now, but the show must go on. Donnie Rightside, you're my partner on the show, the right side of campus. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Good day, Jeff. I should say to use Intertops. Not like I'm going to go out and run to my bookmaker today and be in line and place a wager here in the Northeast. Snow coming down left and right, but that's what we're here for. Offshore books, they can do it all for you. Bang away on your keyboard. Let's make some money today, Jeff.
I hear you. Drew Martin, last but not least, you're back in sunny Costa Rica after your trip to sunny Florida. All you see is sun, Drew. Do you ever feel cold weather?
7 days maximum, Jeff. That's kind of my rule. Snow's fun to visit, to live there. I really don't know how you guys do it, but I'll tell you, middle of March Madness, Sweet 16, great time of year to be a sports bettor. Thanks for having me on, Jeff.
Yeah, definitely. You're right about that. Teddy, I got to ask you, obviously, you said you're running well. What have you seen in this tournament, and what's worked for you as you kind of got through the first couple days here of March Madness?
What's worked for me? I mean, I had Syracuse worked for me really well last weekend for sure. I cashed 3 tickets with Syracuse in every one of their games. I don't know that I expected the straight up win against Sparty, but I wasn't shocked that it happened. You see, historically, a team that wins one of the play-in games goes on a little bit of a run. I thought Syracuse might be that team, and I thought the winner of that game was going to be dangerous, but I mean, what have we seen? We've seen the books do well and the bettors do poorly, and that tends to work well for me in March Madness. I tend to be betting against the public. I tend to be betting against the wise guys when it comes to the line moves and taking advantage of an extra point or two, because we've seen, I mean, how many games have come down to one shot, one possession, 1/2 point? Where'd you get the number? That's the way it is in March. So when you can get an extra point or two from the markets after the opener, it makes a difference, and it's made a difference in my tournament. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing your opinion on Syracuse here in a little bit. Donnie Rightside, Teddy mentioned obviously the very good numbers in this tournament. I got to ask you, because I know you're big on these. Do teasers become more of an arsenal to you in March Madness with all the close lines?
Parlays, teasers, and also, Jeff, hedging out each and every single game from the first round with the future always works well in March Madness. You can't lose money. That's why there are casinos in Las Vegas, because everybody beats them continuously. I get the joke there where you're going, Jeff. No, it's hard enough just to pick one game in a row than teasing a game with 2.5, 3 points or parlaying it over there. A lot of fun in March Madness. Me and Teddy did a show earlier this week proving the fact that lines makers are pretty much on their game this week. A lot of these games, whether or not be a straight-up winner, Jeff, or a total winner, or just a side winner there, boy, coming down to the last few shots, it's amazing. It's what March Madness is.
Yeah, Drew Martin, last but not least, kind of a quick question to you. How'd you do in the tournament? How did it feel being in this? You watch it in the States, right? How was that? I mean, I know you've struggled at times with finding these games and being able to watch them. How'd you do in the tournament?
Yeah, Jeff, I'll tell you. In the tournament, I've kind of just been low volume, about even. I actually lost one more than I won, but other than that, still staying afloat, excited for the Sweet 16. But yeah, you touching on, watching games down here in Costa Rica. It's one of the downfalls of being here when you're trying to watch college football or college basketball, kind of streaming. You can get them, but it's a little bit uncomfortable. So one of the many benefits of being in the States, and actually I couldn't really hear Teddy talking, so if he was talking about teasers or mentioning anything, sorry about that. It's just technical difficulties, I guess.
He actually no, he didn't mention anything about teasers. He was basically just discussing his tournament so far and how he's done and how the lines are are kind of on point. But no, he did
Okay.
not talk about teasers. I was really just breaking Donnie's balls there, really, because I know he's a big fan
So
of basketball teasers.
All right.
I
Go
got to
ahead.
jump in with a real quick teaser story. I got started in this business as a bookie back in Ann Arbor in the 90s, and we didn't have anything. We didn't know anything. I'd never even been to Vegas yet. But the first year we were in business, we gave 6-point NBA teasers because we thought teasers are 6 points, right? Like the NFL. For a year, we gave 6-point NBA teasers. You know how many people beat us? Nobody. It made no difference. Basketball teasers are not a winning proposition. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm glad you shared
For
that.
a year,
That's
nobody beat us.
sure.
Not one,
That's
like if one
yeah.
person beat us, we're like, oh, we just didn't know. We're like, why are we getting all this teaser action? What's going on with the teaser? We didn't know. The next summer, my buddy came out to Vegas. He's like, oh, this is 4 points, not 6.
Welcome in everyone listening. Obviously, it's always fun listening to all the guys here. A lot of good stories, a lot of great tournament stuff, and kind of experiences that we've all had. We welcome you all in. If you're out there, hit the like button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Let us know what you're on. Have some fun here. Yeah, we'll get into it here. Let's jump in right into Thursday's matchups here. This is obviously a Sweet 16 breakdown. If you want game to game and IT kind of stuff, we did it a little bit earlier on our show. I know Teddy and Paul do all sorts of good stuff day by day. There's all sorts of different stuff here on the channels for day-to-day coverage. Let's jump into it. 8:15, 8:16, 7:05 p.m. The Nevada Wolfpack, Teddy, your hometown team nowadays, taking on the Loyola Illinois Ramblers. And how about this story of both these teams? Nevada comes back. What were they down 22 at one point? Mick Cronin fails again at the NCAA tournament level. I believe this is 6 straight years they have not gotten past the first round. Just pathetic. But Nevada, what a comeback. What do comebacks in those games? Texas and then against Cincinnati, phenomenal stuff. Loyola, obviously, with their run as well. And Teddy, all of us, we all talked about this. This team reminds me of Butler when they went to the tournament title against Duke. They just remind me, young, coach, kind of up and comer. They got that. Look, Custer's not Gordon Hayward, but kind of a similar kind of build, similar kind of player. They have that kind of mentality, defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency. They just kind of come out of nowhere, out of that Missouri Valley, a conference that's produced so many good teams over the years, mid-major wise. You look at this game though. Obviously, Loyola. Both these teams coming in here with a lot of magic on their side. Teddy, I'm going to start with you. I started with you last time. I'll start with you this time. This is a toss-up. 1.5 total. 143.5 at Intertops. What do you think here?
Well, let's start with the fact that no one from Vegas is going to root for the guys from Reno. The UNLV guys are not Nevada Reno guys. So it's like saying, I suppose if it came to the Final Four, we'd root for the state kind of a deal. Yeah, sure. Like a guy from Michigan might root for Michigan State, but Florida State guys ever going to root for one another? I don't think so. That's certainly, there's no love lost between the guys up in Reno and the kids here in Las Vegas. When it comes to Loyola, you're right about one thing for sure. This is a fundamentally sound basketball team. Both ends of the court. You look at the statistics, the season-long stats show it, and you watch the first 2 games. They certainly showed it. When it comes to offensive efficiency numbers, excellent. Defensive efficiency numbers, excellent. But they were also facing a couple of what I thought were very beatable opponents, in the sense that Tennessee, Miami, young teams, really young teams. That's not the case for Nevada. Nevada's a squad. There's only 6 guys in Eric Musselman's rotation, and that is, a negative at points during the regular season. In the postseason, boy, the chemistry is tremendous. They don't turn the ball over, and I think that may be a problem for Loyola. I like the Wolfpack minus rather than Loyola plus. Sister Jean is going to lose.
Definitely a clear talent edge. I think we are well aware of the Martin twins, Jordan Caroline, Kendall Stevens, all kids that came in for different programs that have really, you look at Eric Musselman, really transformed this group. But I got to tell you, this team Loyola, very good ball movement, very good ball screen offense, just really kind of fundamental, as Teddy said. And they can shoot the basketball very well, as we know. Concern you have for Nevada, But again, with Illinois Chicago or Loyola Chicago, they do get to the rim as well. They're kind of an all-out offense. Donnie, I'll continue with you. Teddy likes Nevada. Think is the wrong team favorite here? What do you think? Do you like
Yeah,
Loyola?
I
Does
don't think.
Sister Jean move on?
Yeah, I think you're getting a lot of play off of there too, Jeff, with Loyola Chicago being, that Cinderella that people want to tune into. We all know Baltimore County. I mean, they were the ultimate Cinderella, but you saw by the next game, it's clear that the talent edge is low. But Loyola Chicago's been good all season long. I'm wondering how it is going to hold up against Nevada because, Jeff, we take a look at Nevada itself. I mean, you want to talk about, yes, Loyola Chicago's going to play good defense. Is there a team in the country that plays as good a defense as Cincinnati? And if you're going to have a game plan coming in with Musselman and telling his team, like, hey, look, this team is really good. They're going to protect the ball. They're going to play good defense. Well, you can just flip on the tape to Cincinnati and say, look, we came back from 20 down versus the Cincinnati Bearcats defense. We can do it against this. I don't know the firepower is enough for Loyola Chicago. The one thing I like about it, they have the ability, Jeff, to slow it down, and it's clear through the games that they play. They can hit the big shot at the appropriate time. But I got to agree with Teddy right now here. I'm sort of leaning Nevada here early on.
I guess also the concern you have with Nevada is let's be real. I mean, realistically, they have not been good defensively at all over the last several weeks, even in this tournament. And quickly, Teddy, before we get to Drew, let me ask you: was it Nevada winning, or was it Cincinnati just blowing it? What are your thoughts on that?
A little bit of both, but I really thought Nevada did enough to win. Cincy blew some of that game, but the Wolfpack, they played with real fire. They earned it. You make a case maybe Xavier blew it against Florida State, but I think Nevada, I give them credit for the comeback. And I give them credit for the comeback against Texas, too. It wasn't the Longhorns blowing that game. It was Nevada taking it. So I guess
Sure.
I'm on the pro-Nevada side of the equation.
Sure. Drew Martin, last but not least, Teddy and Donnie both like Nevada here, lean Nevada. Do you give Sister Jean a shot? I mean, even she has them losing in the Sweet 16. Do you?
I mean, sure, they have a shot, big man, but no, I'm with both Donnie and Teddy. Loyola Chicago, they really surprised me against Tennessee, but against Miami, Miami was banged up, and it showed in the point spread. That was almost a pick 'em, if not -1, -2, something like that. So the big upset there, round one, it's tough to really say it was too big of an upset. Nevada, really surprising. I think they have a size advantage, and also notice they've knocked down free throws of late. They've improved as the season has gone on from the line. So all of that makes me really like Nevada. You can even get a -1 here. I know the market's mostly at -1.5, but make sure to shop around because Heritage right now has Nevada just -1.
Looks like the growing theme here. Everybody likes Nevada. Athleticism just going to be too much. I'm going to be the different one here. I'm going to go with Sister Jean. I'm Catholic. How can I go against the Loyola Chicago? Come on, that's like
Divine
going
intervention.
against Notre Dame on Saturdays. You can't do it. But no, I understand these guys. I fully will make sure this will not be on my card. But I have a little root in for the Loyola Chicago. How do you not like the woman Sister Jean? She's nice. Sister's nice. I mean, she reminds you of that old nun when you were a kid. That would slap you to a ruler in Catholic school. But yeah, we'll give a shot here to Loyola. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not looking at it to bet on. I think these guys are kind of right there with their breakdowns. It makes a ton of sense. Let's move on. Texas A&M, Michigan, 817, 818. Michigan 2.5 at Intertops, total 136. And this game's interesting because obviously Michigan has the advantage, kind of with the guards and the threes, and Wagner can get out and play on the perimeter. But you have to think, I mean, Texas A&M's going to have a field day in the front court. I mean, Robert Williams and Davis are obviously very good. I actually look at this game a lot like I look at when Michigan played Purdue this season. Both teams were able to really run their offenses. Michigan was able to run their, kind of, pick and roll, kick it out, a lot of threes. Texas A&M was able to, or Purdue was able to run their, go through Haas because Wagner can't defend Haas and Haas couldn't defend Wagner. These bigs for Texas A&M will not be able to defend Wagner, and Wagner won't be able to defend them. It's very rudimentary to me, but I consider that, and I look at it and say, I think this one will get over 136. I just think both offenses are going to have success here. I don't think either team will be able to stop each other. As far as the side, though, let's see what the boys have to say. Donnie, we'll start with you. Can Michigan, I mean, do you keep the old adage up? Don't bet against Michigan in March.
Yeah, if it's March is Michigan, I mean, we might as well get that put on some T-shirts here because of how well they play. They're extremely well coached. They fight through a game versus Houston to advance. Now you're going to get Texas A&M, and I don't even want to say an upstart, Jeff. We watched them throughout the year, start off the year very well, get banged up a little bit, but now seems like they're coming back to center and playing really well. I mean, they have three guys, what listed, Jeff, 6'10" or above that log regular minutes down low and super athletic. That's going to be a problem. The one thing that I had a problem with, Jeff, all year long with Texas A&M, when you work from inside outside like they do, the bigs are going to get fouled. They're very skilled down low. The problem is, Jeff, they don't make any free throws. What are they shooting? 65% as a team. When you're going to be in a really close game heading down the stretch, maybe fouls come to an issue because then if you look at Michigan itself, Jeff, they also shoot around 65%. So looking at that total, we always say like, hey, 3 points, get the other team into the bonus. I'm not so sure that's going to help either one of those teams. It's hard to bet an under in the tournament, especially if you think the game is going to be a little bit closer with some of the fouls that come into play at the end. But I don't see very many free throws here. This is a tough one for me to gauge because if you watch the Houston game, Jeff, with Michigan, it's very limited possession. So you think it's going to come within 1, 2, 3 possessions at the end of the ball game. I just think Michigan overall coaching style of play, I think they can get it done for Texas A&M because, as most people say, it's only what you've seen last. You saw Michigan struggle against a really good Houston team, but everybody's darling Michael Jordan-led UNC Tar Heels get blown out by A&M, and now everybody says, oh my God, how good is A&M? Well, we'll find out now.
Drew Martin, I'll ask you. Obviously, Michigan, one of those really good defensive rebounding teams. For all the knock they get on not having a ton of height, their guards do a nice job rebounding the ball, do a good job of limiting second chance opportunities. You have to do that against Texas A&M. They obviously go in and out. What are your thoughts here, Drew, on this one? Tough game. Do you like Michigan, or who do you like here?
No, you bring up a good point, Jeff, as far as the guards helping up in that scenario and going up against Texas A&M. I was looking to kind of fade Texas A&M, kind of maybe sell high, if you will. They do have a very efficient defense, top 20 in both 2-point and 3-point defensive efficiency. However, like Donnie just said, I mean, they struggle from the line, and they've even struggled towards the end of the season, even more towards the line. So when you use their year-to-date free throw percentage, it's actually even less of late. So I wanted to be on Texas A&M, but it's just too hard for me. This is an easy pass for me, Jeff.
Teddy, what do you think?
I'm just like, why would you want to be on Texas A&M? It's Michigan in March. Huh?
Coming from the Michigan alum, I'll take your word for it. It's a pass for me, Teddy.
Totally right.
Jeff, I really like your thought process when it comes to this total. When you look at Michigan's offense under Bayline, they had played 18 consecutive NCAA tournament games by averaging at least a point per possession. That's against all kinds of teams and all kinds of venues and all kinds of situations between 2010 and 2017. And then all of a sudden, in the first round this year, in the second round, both games, less than a point per possession. That's not Michigan basketball. And certainly you read the quotes for the Wolverines after the games. They were furious. They're like, hey, we got to go back and practice and work this stuff out. And I think they will. And when you look at the edges that Texas A&M has in terms of pounding the ball down low, this should be a high-scoring game. These two teams should be able to have good offensive efficiency numbers. 136, I think, seems a little bit short.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we kind of have a potpourri. I mean, we kind of like the total. Who wants to bet against Michigan in March? I mean, and again, the Aggie guard plays decent, not great. I think Rockman, Duncan Robinson, Poole, all those guys, I think they're major differences here. But the over looks like the play to me. Let's keep it going here as we continue our delve into Thursday Sweet 16 action. Take a look at Intertops. We're using all of our lines from Intertops, one of the best books in the business. We welcome you all out there that are joining us. Hit the like button for us. Retweet the show on Twitter. Get it out to people you think might like it. 8-13, 8-14. Kentucky, 5.5. Total 139.5 against Kansas State. And obviously, big news here. Dean Wade back for Kansas State. And 98% back for Kansas State. You'd imagine he'll play. But I have to think, how much of a difference will that make? I mean, Dean Wade's a great player, but this Kentucky offense right now is on fire. They're not turning the ball over at all, which is something that they struggled with early on. I just don't think Kansas State at all is a good matchup for Kentucky. I said months ago I thought Kentucky on paper, if you mark position by position, player by player, I'm not sure there's a more talented team in the country. They have the best players, bar none, altogether on one team. It's just, can they get confidence? Can they get cohesion and play together? That's why Cal, if you can say what you want off the court about John Calipari, he is a master at doing this kind of thing late in the season. I'm going Kentucky here. I think this is one of those things where Kansas State was lucky that they got to face UMBC. They didn't even look good in the game either. And I love how I noticed on ESPN they were putting out that Kansas State has been the best defensive team in the tournament. Well, I mean, you face UMBC in the second round. Who did you even face in the first round? Creighton. I guess it was Creighton,
Great.
which was an impressive, I guess, defensive stretch. But um, Teddy, what do you think here? Do you agree? Is Kentucky just kind of on a roll right now? Do you believe in Kansas State at all? Dean Wade, obviously, back makes a big difference. You get your best player back in a game like this. Will it matter?
Oh, I'd love to be on Kansas State here, but I'm probably not going to because Dean Wade is back. Dean Wade is going to affect the point spread, and you're not going to get vintage Dean Wade. You're not going to get the leading scorer, leading rebounder. You're going to get, he's going to come off the bench. He's going to play, try to give him a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes there. He's worried about his three-point shot. I mean, Wade's a good matchup and someone they desperately need in a matchup against the Kentucky bigs because he can take at least one big and make him play out on the perimeter a little bit defensively. But, you know, they're talking severe minute restrictions for Dean Wade in this ballgame, and that's a concern. But when you say, oh, well, you know, they didn't play anyone, I mean, they beat the team that just beat the number one seed. You know, it wasn't pretty. And there was nothing that K-State could have done right in that game. You know what I mean? It was a grinder of a game. They grinded it out. That's what they do. This feels like a grinder of a game. And, you know, Gilgeous-Alexander's played what? The best basketball of the year in the last 5 ball games. You know, since the start of the SEC tournament. You know, I mean, when we look at Kentucky historically, it's a team, what do they have, 5 point guards now in the NBA? And the 3 best big men in the NBA right now, and, you know, Boogie Cousins and Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns, you know, that's the Kentucky methodology. A great point guard, a great big man, and that's how they've had all this postseason success. That hadn't developed this year until like a couple of weeks ago. And now Gilgeous-Alexander's been just a monster, and the assist to turnover ratio's there, the scoring's been there, the ball movement's been there. We're seeing a very different Kentucky team in March than we saw for most of the year. They're also a very immature team, and then that worries me. You know, you read Calipari's quote today. What is it? The poison is being we have an easy road. If they drink the poison, we'll be done on Thursday. You know, Calipari knows that his team, if they get the least bit cocky, K-State can beat them and certainly give them a challenge.
It's a good point. Let me ask you, Donnie. I mean, you know I'm a big schematic guy. I like to look at schemes and how each team will face each other's scheme. And I'm a bit concerned with Kansas State because what I've seen recently is a lot of pick and roll. You run pick and roll against Kentucky, you're going to lose. I mean, they're very good with that. Very long, very athletic. We all know that. What do you think here? What happens? Teddy kind of seemed like he liked Kansas State a bit maybe here. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I held out, reservation on this game because I wanted to build a case for Kansas State to be my play. Getting 5.5, 6, maybe that team that's a little bit not thought of, a young team in Kentucky heading into this ball game. But then I see the quotes, the same thing that Teddy's looking at here. I'm waiting to see what the Wade injury is. And I know today, which we talked about it earlier, Jeff, on the roundtable, you're allowed to watch these guys practice in an open environment. They showed the images of Wade out there. So, yes, he's going to practice. He's going to play. Jeff, he rolled around, looked like he was going about 25% speed. And if you're going to play Kentucky, you can't be worried about your fractured foot and how much you're going to play. And the second part of it is, if Wade is all the way back, right, he's your team leader out there. He's not even going to start this game. They're talking about him coming off the bench and giving you added minutes. Everybody's going to see the alert that came out a couple days ago and his, interview saying, you're not going to be able to hold me out of this one. Yep, he's going to be probable and ready to go. Probable and ready to go, Jeff, means he's going to suit up, take the court, and see how it goes. You can't do this at this level. And the one thing we know, Jeff, you're right about it. Man for man, if you line up both of these teams player by player and take Dean Wade and his 6'10 frame out there shooting threes, it's no question the more talented team here is Kentucky. To me, it will be Kentucky or nobody in this game with the Wade injury, Jeff.
Yeah, agree. Drew, what do you think?
I'm not looking to step in front of the Wildcats. That is the Kentucky Wildcats in the Battle of Wildcats. But, yeah, Kentucky won, 9 of 10 straight up and ATS. Also, Kansas State, you just touched on it a little bit, big man. What they beat Creighton and then Maryland, Baltimore County. I think you can make the argument that is the easiest stretch so far of any team still in the Sweet 16, and only scoring 50 points against Maryland, Baltimore County. I think that's kind of a head scratcher. Also, keep in mind where this game is in Atlanta. Catlanta is coming from somebody that lived in Atlanta up till a year ago. I'll tell you, when Kentucky is in town, that place fills up with blue. A lot of Kentucky Wildcat fans will be in the arena, so it should be loud, favoring Kentucky from that aspect. You also touched on Calipari. Say what you want, like him, not like him. He's got experience. He can coach him up. So it's Kentucky Wildcats for me. Lay the points with them.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you here. Let's keep it going here. We're making pretty good time so far here, boys. Final game of the Thursday night card, the 4 seed Gonzaga out in LA against Florida State. Florida State obviously here because of Xavier's inability to close a game out. We get 5.5 on a side, 152.5 on a total. And I'm going to come out and say it. There's one game I like more than this one, and I'll get to that later. I have a feeling this is a blowout. I think this is eerily similar to the similar situation Gonzaga was in last year in this tournament. They're getting Xavier, believe in the Elite Eights was run round ahead. First of all, you're getting Mark Few with plenty of game preparation time. The goal to beating Florida State is you cannot let them get out in transition. You saw in the points where they were able to take leads and come back against Xavier. What did Xavier do? Makura wasn't on the floor. They were able to get out in transition, and they couldn't guard them athletically up front. The Gonzaga Bulldogs can do that with Colin or with Tilly, with John Williams. And to me, a guy down the road, Hachimura is a complete star in the making. You better get that name in your head because long term, he has a lot of tools not many kids have at this level. For me, I just look at Few game preparation. He's one of the better coaches in the country. You have to keep Florida State out of transition. I think for Gonzaga, they can do that. They're also a team that can guard without fouling. Can't put Florida State on the line. We saw in the game against Xavier, that was key. They were much better from the line. They were to get a lot of points to get back in the game being at the line. I don't think the foul situation will be as dire for Gonzaga like it was against Xavier. I just think, for me, Gonzaga will wear them down and kind of pull away in the second half. Zag's a better rebounding team, really better at everything than what Florida State is. Florida State has that ability to get out in transition, but I get a feeling Mark Few's going to stop that real quick. Teddy covers. What do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, on Sportsbook today, we use the Zags as the play of the day. Gonzaga minus 5.5. And I'm with you both in theory and in practice. When we look at this Gonzaga team, very young coming into the season, you look at all the talent they graduated, no surprise. And yet, a lot of guys coming into their own right now. You know, I'm looking for guys that are peaking in March. Certainly, Norvell's a guy that's been playing his best basketball, you know, a freshman on the biggest stages right now. You know, he had a huge game against Ohio State. I didn't lose many bets last weekend, but one of them was on the Buckeyes in that game against the Zags. And Gonzaga was truly impressive in that game. After Ohio State had rallied back to take the lead, the Zags punched back very effectively in that contest and showed a little bit of resilience that I wasn't sure that they had, and they showed it. You know, Florida State, interchangeable parts. I mean, you talk about a rotation that goes 10 deeps. They will wear teams down. If you turn it over, you'll be dead against Florida State. But other than that, you play sound fundamental basketball. I think they're beatable, and certainly Gonzaga likely to do that. So I'm with you, BMOC. I like the Zags.
And Gonzaga, obviously, other than Villanova, probably one of the most efficient teams in this tournament left as far as offensively. Norvell, like you said, coming into his own. Donnie, I'm saying it now. Rui Hachimura will be a star in the NBA. Mark my words, for all of you people out there, he has physical tools. He's a freak athletically. But I'm going to go to you, Donnie. That has nothing to do with the question at hand here. Who covers the number in this game, or do you like a total?
Yeah, talking about Hachimura, Jeff. I mean, I was sitting on the over in that game, which covered easy in Ohio State, but not much help from Hachimura from the free throw line, which is sort of an anomaly. Hopefully, he gets that figured out. But you're right. When you're looking at this game, Jeff, and you're trying to break it down in betting, yes, he's still young. when you're looking at this game and trying to bet it itself with Gonzaga, the one thing if you're going to take Florida State here, you have to actually think that Florida State can go into this game and win it outright. Spread around 5, 5.5, 6, depending on where it is. I just can't bet that way and say, you know what? I think Florida State's a pretty athletic team. I think they can stay inside the number. If you don't think they can win the game, then you're better off betting Florida State at all at this point. And we get into this every single season, Jeff. When you get into these big pressure games in these environments that not many teams are used to, Gonzaga's been there and done that. Gonzaga has one of the best head coaches in the league, or excuse me, in the country. After 4 or 5 days getting ready, Jeff, you don't think Gonzaga is going to be ready to take the court? And again, if you're going to bet Florida State is a wild card team. Sometimes they come out and they're awful. Sometimes they come out and play very well. Give me the team that's grounded. Look at their schedule. Look who they played. Look who they beat, and look how the style of play matches up. It's Gonzaga or nobody for me, Jeff. I'm not taking a flyer if Florida State shows up and plays well. You're going to lose your money betting like that.
And Teddy pointed out a good point earlier, and when we were discussing Cincinnati and Nevada, Xavier just gave the game away. I mean, if Jamie Pecura doesn't get called for 2 phantom foul calls, I mean, they probably find a way to win. Blewett was a horrendous. Yet another game where Blewett doesn't step up when it matters most. Did the same thing last year against Gonzaga. It was more of, I think they were just given the game as opposed to them going out and taking it. By the way, Hachimura 80% from the line, Donnie. So
yeah, he was awful. That's why I couldn't understand it last game. He opened up 1 or 6 or 1 of 7 from the line. I'm like, dude, help me out here, man. Come on.
Yeah. And he had 12 free throws, so it looked just brutal. Drew, do you agree with all of us that Gonzaga will probably run roughshod here and win fairly easily?
Yeah, absolutely. Just efficient defense. They don't give up easy buckets. I think pretty much everybody alluded to it. The matchup-wise, Florida State, I just don't think projects well against what Gonzaga does. Long possessions defensively, that's not where Florida State's going to excel. And like Donnie said, it's kind of an up-and-down team. So laying the 5.5, obviously it's not ideal, but Zags minus 5.5, that's the way I'm betting this game. I just think they're going to make FSU really the longer offensive possessions, plus the coaching advantage towards the Zags too. So yeah, I'm on the Zags, Jeff.
Yeah, Few, one of the great game preparers you have out there. We'll go into Friday here. Got some comments here. What do we got? This is where Calipari owns his own plane. All right. I don't know what that means. Wade 100% healthy, different story. Yeah, Donnie, I see you're chatting about that. You're totally right. This game would be a bit different. Same with Purdue when we get to that one. Kentucky sucks in close games. Their foul shooting's bad. Well, I mean, you also said John Beilein's an average coach a bit earlier, so I don't know if we could take much you said. Come on, Teddy, I'm going to ask you: is John Beilein an average coach? Is that
no?
A little too exactly? I mean, is that a joke?
Teddy says he's below average, Jeff. Teddy just said he's below.
He said
average.
he's nothing. Said he's nothing special as a head coach. You got to be kidding me with that comment. He's one of the best in the country. What are you talking about? He's nothing special as a head coach. That's amazing. I can't believe someone actually uttered that. Put down the Jim Beam early here. Too early for that. Let's move on. Clemson, Kansas. Kansas 4.5, 143 on a total. Obviously Malik Newman playing at a very high level. Getting as a week back has been huge, frankly. If they didn't have him against Seton Hall, I don't think they win that game. He was very important, 10.7 boards late in the game. Andrew Delgado still had a big game, but he gave you a little bit offensively, gave you enough to kind of get up and over that. And what a brutal beat, Teddy, that was if you had the Kansas Jayhawks. Were you in Vegas? Were you at the casino at the time, or what went on there?
I was dancing in the streets, but I had Seton Hall in that game, plus 4.5. Never in doubt. I don't know what how the excitement was. Yeah. What he hit 3 3-pointers in the final minute. So somebody was on the right side of that. That somebody was me. Not my clients. But yeah, that was a lucky one. It certainly wasn't a right side. That being said, Kansas didn't play great basketball in that ball game, did they? I mean, the crowd helped them. Azubuike was huge on the defensive end, and yet still Delgado was 20-20 in that contest. Kansas, and now they're not playing in a friendly venue this week. I think they're totally beatable. I thought they were beatable against Seton Hall, and I think they're beatable again this week on Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to try to keep my personal feelings on Brad Brunell out of this because, again, I know they can get me sometimes, and I maybe let them get too ahead of me in the first game, taking Mexico State. I'll still go on record as saying he's one of the worst coaches in the country. But I don't have a big feel in this game. It's a tough one because I love the way Kansas guards are playing right now. I think as a week is a huge part of this game. Drew Martin, let me start with you. You're kind of an ACC guy. You're down in that area. You lived in that area. What do you think here about Clemson? Can they knock off Kansas here?
Sure, they can, big man. But one, I'm going to ask you about your personal comments on Brad Brunell. But I'll first say Clemson, struggles relatively speaking, going against the other Sweet 16 teams with defending the 3-point line. In the way Kansas shoots from beyond the 3-point line, it really makes me point towards the Jayhawks. So looking to lay it here with them. Also, Kansas, 9-1 straight up, 8-2 ATS. So really hot coming down the stretch. So yeah, it's the Jayhawks for me, man.
What are your comments on Brad Brunell?
I'm wondering what your personal comment or your personal feelings are on him.
He's not any good. He's a bad coach.
Okay.
He's been at Clemson for 8 years, and he's been in the tournament past this round of 64 once. He develops no players whatsoever. Other than Trevor Booker, I can't remember a player he put into the league. Recruiting-wise, he's an absolute mess. The fact that he lost Zion Williamson is a crime. He literally had him by a mile. You got to be able to close the deal there. He's just not a good coach. Game to game, okay. I don't think he's terrible, but he's average. They don't win, and they've been sorely overrated for years in the AC. You got to find a way to do a bit better at times. I know they're not Duke or North Carolina, but they're very average. They're always literally on the bubble every single year. This guy was on the hot seat 4 or 5 different times. For some reason, they didn't fire him and move on to someone else. I mean, think if they would have went out and got a Steve Forbes from East Tennessee or someone like that, I think they'd be competing. And look, I guess the whole thing is, well, look, shut Jeff up, and they are competing now. One Sweet 16 in 8 years, I don't know.
Yeah, not
to
to
me,
mention, Jeff, I mean, they just beat a beat-up Auburn team, and like you're saying, the coaching
True.
advantage to Bill Self in Kansas, I think it's even more reason to bet the Jayhawks.
And I'll admit, I'm fairly Alan Bostonish when it comes to coaching. Fans of coaches. I look at a coach for more what he does off the court, what he's done long term, not just what he did a year or two out of his career. I just don't think he's a particularly strong head coach. But let's get back to the game. I don't want to make this a personal vendetta against Brunell. Donnie, what do you think here?
Yeah, guard play wins when you come down to these games, but it looks like they're trying. I don't want to say it's a setup out there. Clemson is a decent basketball team, getting about 4.5, depending where you sit it right now. But if as of week 8 comes back and he is healthy, Jeff, you would agree. I mean, Clemson has nothing that can control him down low. He had a couple dunks last week to show you he's back, a couple alley-oops. It basically looked like he was going to break the backboard. He's hanging on the rim and damn near touching the floor at the same time. I think that's going to add up. And at the end of the game, if this is a close one, give the ball to Devontae Graham at this point. I just think, Kansas is just too strong. Even though Clemson's that sneaky play, 2 straight great wins, I don't take as much out of that Auburn game because Auburn coming down the stretch, severely leaking oil. But hey, you have to pound those teams when you get a chance, which Clemson did. It's hard to go against the blue blood here, Jeff, for me in Kansas. I'll lean Kansas with the -4.5 here.
Teddy, what do you like here?
I mean, my lean's towards Clemson plus. I'll make it clear. My lean is anti-Kansas minus. Okay. Kansas in a friendly venue last week. It's a different story. Kansas hasn't faced a defensive team as good as, say what you want about Clemson offensively. They got guards that can shoot. The guard play's been there, and the defense has been there. And, that's what I look for in tournament underdog. So it feels like this feels like someone's winning this game on a shot at the buzzer, a final possession type of ball game. Which also has me leaning towards the under.
Like it. Donnie, Drew, we got your opinion, didn't we? First, you went.
Yeah, not memorable, but you got it.
Yeah.
I don't think is anyone particularly strong in this game, though? Does anyone look at this and say, wow, I love that game? Yeah, I don't either. It's one of my least favorite of the opening round here. Sweet 16 games. This one should be fun. West Virginia, Villanova, 871-872. The 1 seed Villanova, 5-point favorites, 152.5 on a total. Question is, what kind of press are you going to get here? Obviously, Javon Carter been very good in this tournament defensively. We can make the case he's the best defensive guard left in this tournament, and all you have to do is talk to the first couple teams that he's faced. He's very good, and Jalen Brunson's very good too, though, and they're a team that can break a press, and if they do, it's game over. I just find a lot of trouble betting on West Virginia because you never know how that press is going to be. I do think though West Virginia will have a bit of an advantage down low. Obviously Kanate and those bigs. Villanova's not great down low. They never are. That's one thing Wright doesn't seemingly go after. They've never really had a great big there, but I don't know. I'm kind of numb on West Virginia. I find it tough to bet on their games. Lean Villanova just because I don't really want to step in front of them. And I think they're the best team left. Uh, Teddy, I'll start with you. Are you laying the number here with Villanova or no?
So Villanova finished the season as the #1 offensive efficiency team in all of college basketball. In fact, I believe they had the most, one of the most efficient offense of the last decade, if not the most efficient offense of the last decade. When you have a team with a statistical profile like that, there's no bargains supporting a Villanova squad right here. What's West Virginia been all year? They've been tough as nails, just like Nova. They've been feisty, just like Nova. I think they're live, and again, it's the type of game that I'm not excited about laying points with. In the Sweet 16 matchup, sure. Could Nova blow them out? Absolutely. If they're draining threes, and you could certainly expect them not to turn the ball over. But maybe more than side, I like total in this game. I mean, I think that West Virginia's going to push, Nova's going to hit shots, and it has the potential to be a real track meet type of ball game. The loser get to 80 here? They might. I like the over.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously Villanova very efficient. We know that West Virginia, when they can get out in transition, they're very efficient. You just got to make sure they're not in that half court set. But yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's a good pick by you. Donnie Wright said, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the past two games, West Virginia just manhandling Marshall, manhandling Murray State. Now you're going to get the most efficient team in college basketball out there. What does West Virginia, Jeff, need for you to happen to make it happen for West Virginia to win the ball game? Easy. They have to get out, force you out of your offense, and turn the ball over. Just give the ball to Jalen Brunson. He'll break all 5 of those guys down at once. And the one thing, what happens, Jeff, once you break the press, you get transition threes. One team, West Virginia, can't stop the three from a nosebleed. The other team makes it rain from 3. That's where it's going to happen. You have Jay Wright and his boys out there, Jeff, not going to turn it over and get open shot after open shot after open shot out there. Give me Villanova in this ball game. I think it's a great matchup. Having said that, West Virginia, very gritty team. Can they win this game? Absolutely they can. But, Villanova, the perfect tonic for the way that West Virginia wants to play. They're not going to turn it over more than 5 times in the press there, and they're going to drain that open 3 until this game bleeds out. I like the over, just for the simple fact is West Virginia from start to finish will press Villanova. Villanova will run up the court and get 3 after 3 after 3. Give me Villanova in the over here.
Good point by Eric Hamburg. West Virginia's success sits solely on Carter's shoulders. I agree, but they are good shoulders to sit on. He's very good defensively, but Brunson's a different animal. Drew, what do you think here?
I agree with both Teddy and Donnie so far. I like the over, and I believe what Donnie said, like in Villanova as well. I mean, they're top 15 in almost every offensive category. Good guard play. I think they will break the press pretty efficiently. Keep in mind they have the extra time to prepare. Great guard play, not turning it over. And also both teams knock down free throws at a really high percentage. I think all that points towards the over. Agreeing with Donnie as far as I lean in with Villanova, but I like the over at 152.5 a lot.
Yeah, no, you guys are all making great points with that. I kind of agree now that you've talked about it. 2 more games here. Syracuse, Duke. Duke 11.5, total 133.5. And I'm going to kind of look to me quickly the total here. I think the under looks pretty good here. Yeah, you look at obviously what Duke's done, and Teddy's discussed it, Drew's discussed it. Their ability playing in this zone is really flummoxed teams in this tournament. And it's really flummoxed teams for the last several weeks. We all know Syracuse's problem. They're just not very good offensively. They want to stay in a knockdown, drag-out game like they did against Michigan State. Though I was impressed overall with their ability to defend Jackson and Ward and those kind of guys. You have a very good front court here. Obviously, probably one of the best in the country with Begley and Carter. I think Syracuse is the best defense left in this tournament. Another guy in Boeheim who you could say what you want about him personally. This guy's a hell of a coach in March. Always has his teams prepared defensively. I think it's the best zone I've seen from them in many years. They're long, they're athletic. And Dolezaj, as Boeheim has said, or Krzyzewski was saying, you look at kind of where they become. Dolezaj and Brissett have become much better much better offensively and defensively. I just think this is a slow down, knockdown, drag out game, maybe similar to the game we saw between Virginia and Duke. Kind of low scoring. Maybe you let Begley get his, but Duke's guards just haven't been consistent enough all season for me to be in love with them here. I think they'll win. I think they'll probably win by 7 or 8. I think this is first of 65 wins. Donnie right side, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at what, 11 and a half at this point, is Duke the better team? Yes. Should Duke win this game? Yes. But there's going to be limited possessions. It does, like, even if Syracuse can get you through the 10-minute mark, Jeff, and have the game that's like 12-11, you might as well just unload your bankroll on Syracuse, because it seems like they can just drag that game out all the way through 40 minutes. If Duke gets out hot, racing out and hits some threes, and Syracuse is down 10 midway through the first half, that's not going to look good. But right now, why would you want to step in front of Syracuse? Nobody shoots the three well versus Syracuse. We say it all the time, like, oh man, can't wait to a team that can really shoot 3-pointers match up with this ball club. It doesn't matter. They just get in your head, and you almost have to say, Syracuse, just go out there and shoot like 15% from the floor, and then we'll beat you. If Syracuse is on their game and half of their shots are going down that should go down, they're going to be a tough out. And again, Jeff, we're talking about Syracuse not winning the ball game, staying within double digits. They can do that.
No, I think you're totally right. I think this is like a 7 or 8 point game. I think it'll come down to the wire. Duke might hit some free throws late to kind of get them into the 7-8 point mark. Teddy, what do you think here? I like the under. Donnie leans Syracuse. I also like Juice as well. Not looking to really get in front of them. I think they'll grind this one out and keep this one in the low 60s. What do you think?
Syracuse has been a good friend to me in this tournament.
Yes.
Although this is where teams like Syracuse come to die. I will not have a dime on Syracuse in this game. I'll not have a nickel on Syracuse in this game. I'll not have going in pre-tip-off. I won't have anything on Syracuse in this.
Come on, Teddy. How about a lean
really,
on Syracuse? Give us at least a lean on Syracuse.
No, the under. Look, these two teams played a month ago. Not even. 3.5 weeks ago. They played in Durham. 60-44. Stayed under by what was the closing total in that ball game? 143.5. So it stayed under by 40 points.
39 points. Yeah.
Duke was 2 of 17 from 3-point. Syracuse was 3 of 21. I mean, are we going to see something dramatically different in terms of the 3-point shooting efficiency here? I don't think so. I mean, I would expect to see a little bit better shooting than a combined 5 of 38. But two teams, you make an over-under. How many 3-pointers are you going to make? What do you make? Combined between the two of them? 13.5 maybe? 12.5? It'd be low. Lean under.
Yeah.
I mean, Duke 26th in the country in 3-point defense. Syracuse 33rd. Very efficient, both these teams against the three. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say 9 combined threes. Teddy covered. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go 4 and 5. Drew Martin, what do you think? Do you like the under here?
Yeah, love the under. One of my stronger plays of the Sweet 16. Yeah, Teddy just hit on it. 104 points last time out in Cameron Indoor. I don't see a lot different, like he touched on as well. So, yeah, I just think the total's too high. Not enough of compensation by the odds makers. I like the under.
Very good. Final game of, or did we get Donnie here? Yeah, we did. I'm losing track of who has contributed here each game. Final game of the card. Last game, 9:57 p.m. in Boston, Massachusetts. Great place, Beantown. You got Texas Tech at Purdue. Before I get into the breakdown, I got to ask Teddy Covers here a question. Just yes or no, Teddy. You don't have to give me a breakdown. Just kind of question. Do you think the wrong team's favored in this game? Yes or no?
Yes.
That's all I wanted to hear. I agree. I think this line makes no sense. This is the line that I feel like would be the line if Haas was fully healthy, and he's not. He's not healthy at all. And if you think he's going to be even close to a contributor in this game, I got a beach in Iowa to sell you land on. I don't see it. This guy's questionable at best. Is he even approved to play with the brace he's going to have? I know they have a good engineering department at Purdue, but it's questionable if they're going to be able to come up with something that would work here. And it's a shooting hand that it's broke. His shooting arm. I don't see it. I don't think it's going to work. And I think without him, they're going to have a major problem scoring in this game, because when he's in the game, you obviously have to contribute, at least two guys to him whenever he's on the court. With Harms on the court, you just don't have to worry as much. You can shade up a little higher. You can kind of guard those shooters that they have there. It's going to be a lot tougher. Purdue luckily was able to get by Butler because Butler wasn't able to kind of handle. They didn't have a big that could really bang with anyone. Texas Tech will. This is the end of the road, in my opinion, for Purdue. I think Texas Tech is the best play on the board. Keenan Evans has been absolutely fantastic. I just think they're tough, they're gritty, they're fantastic defensively. Without Haas, I just don't see it. If he's in there, it's a bit better of a scenario probably, but they're well coached. I love Brad Brunell, or not Brad Brunell, Chris Beard.
You love Brad Brunell.
Yes, you got me to say it. There you go. He's on my mind. But all in all, if I'm Beard, I use this as material. Look, you're not a big underdog, but you're an underdog to a team without their best player. That's something that I'd use as kind of fire here for this team. I don't think they'll need it though. Texas Tech wins. They get the job done. Teddy, I'll go right back to you. Do you agree?
Yes. I mean, I agree with everything you said. All year long, I've kind of had Purdue as a team that's good. They're going to make the Sweet 16, and that's about where their limit is. Purdue's not a legit national title contender. They don't have the NBA requisite talent on that roster, and they just lost the guy who makes the inside-out offense works. And Texas Tech has been an undervalued commodity. They've been a team that is often overlooked, even now in a good year for the Big 12. And I'll take Chris Beard over Matt Painter with extra time to prepare. No questions asked. Yeah, wrong team favored. Red Raiders.
Amen. Yes, love it. Remember that super fan that got punched by Marcus Smart, Donnie? Somewhere he's smiling. What was his name? Jeff. Jeff, what's his name?
Right. Yeah, you're right. I forget.
I'm sure he'll be there with bells on. Looking forward to this one. Do the boys from Lubbock, Donnie, get it done here? What do you think?
I'm in agreement with you here, Jeff. If we take a look at Purdue, why do they shoot so well from three-point range during the season? It's because they have the guy down low you can play inside out with, which you have to double team to get wide open looks. Now, when you take a look at the game versus Butler there, they did shoot well from three, Jeff, as I'm seeing here, about 45, 46%, and shot 53% from two-point range. That's the difference here, Jeff. All year long, we bitched and moaned about Butler being a soft basketball team. That's the opposite of what Texas Tech is. Now you're not going to have your big guy down low. This team's going to clamp down on defense. Getting 2 points now at this point. I can't see, Jeff, to me or you, more likely, if that line sits at 2 right now, more likely to go to 1.5 and 1, or maybe even reverse over, than go up to 2.5 or 3. I think Texas Tech's the right play here as well.
Drew, what do you think?
Yeah, I would lean Texas Tech as a side, but I'm more interested in the total, to tell you the truth. I think, just last game produced only 60 possessions versus Butler. I think Texas Tech should be able to slow them down a bit more than the other teams that they have faced of recent. Also, both teams flirting with ranking 250 in adjusted tempo. So I think all those reasons, I think Texas Tech, we know under Chris Beard how they play defense. And also Purdue with the length, the size that they have. I think this 137.5 is a little high. I like the under.
Interesting. Let's go into best bets, guys. Let's stop screwing around here and let's go into best bets. Drew Martin, are you going to go under as your best bet? What do you think here? What do you like out of all these games as your favorite play? What do you have?
Does it have to be basketball?
Bracket Busters is soccer as well.
It's Bracket Busters. Yeah, if you want to give out soccer, I guess we can figure that in. But What do you got here?
All right.
You want to give out
I'm
NFL
gonna go
or something?
What's that?
You want to give out NFL?
Week 1 NFL, Jeff.
I mean,
yeah, I'm thinking maybe MLB season win total. I don't know, but I'll go
West training. Let's do it.
I'll do West Virginia Villanova over 152.5. That's my best bet for the Sweet 16.
Drew Martin likes over 152.5. West Virginia Villanova. Teddy, what was that you said?
I was asking. I haven't seen week 1 numbers. Did someone post them?
No, I was just messing around.
In Drew's mind.
I'm jonesing, man.
It's so far away. I just messed around with him. Donnie, what do you like here? Best bet.
Last bet I had on Sunday. I just really like what I see each and every time Syracuse takes the court. Jeff, you could give them an open dunk from midcourt, and they will stop on a dime and let everybody get back and run their offense down to 1 second on the shot clock and throw up a terrible three. I just think this game has the look and feel, again, of taking the under, where it sits at 133, 133 and a half at this point. If it's Syracuse, they're not going to get into a running game. They know they can't do that and beat Duke. They're going to slow it down, muck and grind. Nobody's going to score. This game, again, I think is going to be played into the low 120s, high 110s. I'll take the 133, and I'll go under in that Syracuse game again.
Like it. Teddy covers. What do you think?
Teddy right side? That's got a nice ring to it.
There you go. That's yeah.
Teddy
Donnie
right
covers?
side. What do you think here?
I'm going to go with Gonzaga against Florida State. Florida State's got no business in the Sweet 16. You know, they're here because their opponents collapsed. I don't see Gonzaga collapsing. I think Gonzaga's playing their best ball right now, and they're something of an undervalued commodity, a team who's most assuredly battle-tested, and a team who is peaking at the right time. As cliche as that is, I want the Zags over the Seminoles. I think the price is cheap.
I like it. And how about this, guys? Intertops, one of our great sponsors, is giving me 2 points with the Red Raiders. Give me Texas Tech +2, my play of the week. Guys, some of the best in the business. I appreciate it. When are we back next? Elite Eight, I believe. Looking forward to breaking those games down. And I will be at the Final Four live from San Antonio. We're doing a little man on the street. We're going to get everyone's opinion of Teddy Covers and what they think of him down in San Antonio. We'll do that and more for the Final Four breakdown coming up in a couple weeks. Guys, you guys are some of the best in the business. All of you have done very well this season. I look forward to breaking it down even further as we head deeper into March Madness. Thanks to Intertops for the lines and doing a great job there with those. Thanks to producers down at SBR and all the listeners as well. Everyone have a great day. Enjoy the Sweet 16. I'm the big man on campus. This has been BMOC's Bracket Busters.